Just another fake study coming out of academia. At this stage, my friends, if it comes from academia, especially Ivy League, you have to say it's probably not faked. It's probably faked. It's probably not valid. It's just this is getting insane. This affects natural gas as I just can't take it, man. Do these guys tell the truth? It's like, do they tell the truth at all? No, because they're living in their little Ivy League bubbles. That's why you got to freaking tax these guys to kneel. You say, we're going to tax the hell out of you until you start operating honestly, because they are perpetuators of falsehood that people are falling into. My sister, I don't want to say too much more. She texted me something about somebody with a little kid going crazy and fear about, something that happened in the last 2 years. I said, this is insanity, man. It's insanity. All because the ICL, the University of Washington, ICL's Imperial College of London. Never mind all the global climate change crap that's going on, all because the academia. Eisenhower said it, man. He's talked about the educational industrial complex. No one talks about that, but it's there. Anyway, so let's read the headline from my boys over at marcellusdrilling.com, marcellusdrilling.com, and this is under Marcellus Drilling News. You should get a subscription, like $50 here, good money spent. I browse this probably once every week, every 2 weeks to get a gauge of what's going on in the energy business, because I like energy, you like energy, the whole world likes energy, and the vast, vast, vast majority of our energy comes from fossil fuels. That's just a fact, a jack. So anyway, so I saw this, and interesting, because I just got done. Fake study claims using natural gas in homes is linked to cancer. And wow, have the standards at Harvard slipped. It used to be that Harvard was known for academic rigor. That was many years ago. Those days are long gone. Harvard is now controlled by leftists who succumb to groupthink and political ideology. Wasn't the stupid chick, the Chinese lady on CNN, isn't she Harvard doctor or something like that? Like Lena Wen or something like Ren or something like that. The nutcase on CNN all the time. I think she's Harvard. Anyway, so I saw this, said, oh, this is interesting, because I was just in a discussion, well, not discussion, I was reading this guy on treehugger.com, who was talking about he actually had a good article about something. I said, all right, well, I appreciate you trying to see middle road here. But he was very big on promoting the idea that natural gas is causing cancer and all kinds of stuff in humans. And I said, okay, I hadn't thought about that, but I'm open. I'm open to the suggestion. I mean, there's no way around it. I said, okay. It's interesting. Autism, allergies, dyslexia, ADHD. We're just not a healthy society, and I'm wondering if it has something to do with, I'm convinced it has something to do with the jabs, and not just the C-19 jabs, all the ones that the CDC recommends to make Big Pharma rich, and their political, the people who do the bidding, the politicians. But anyway, but I'm not against thinking maybe it has something to do with natural gas. Maybe it has something to do with our vegetable or not GMOs. Maybe it has something to do with the chemicals in Monsanto. I don't know. I'm open to anything, but there is a correlation relative to what we're using in the last 50 years relative to all these things increasing and rapidly, exponentially almost. And people say, oh, well, we're throwing a wider net. I'm saying, I don't know if I believe that so much, given that we know some people with autism. And I don't think that would have been unseen, 50 years ago. Like, oh, we didn't catch that. Yeah, you would have caught it if you were actually studying it. So now I just think we're catching it because it's more obvious to everybody, and it's getting easier to prompt to let people know about via the internet. Anyway, so then the question comes to mind: well, yeah, natural gas in the houses, is going up, going up, going up, and a rise in autism. All this, is there a correlation that equals causation? I don't know. Might be. It's interesting to me. I have my thoughts on that, but let's take a look. So I saw a couple of studies that came out by this guy, treehugger.com. Said, see, natural gas is causing cancer and stuff. I said, that's interesting. Wonder what else is causing. Like statins. We know for a fact that statins do cause issues in the brain, memory loss, and things of that nature. We know absolutely, I forgot what I was going to say, statins and, I can't, there's something else I was going to say. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, so let's read this real quick. That was weird. I just had, see, look, right there. I had it in my head, and now I forgot. So obviously that's because of natural gas. Anyway, so fake study claims using natural, what do I already talk about? Yeah. All right, so let's keep going this. Case in point, Harvard recently published a study in the Environmental Science and Technology that claims that natural gas used for powering household stoves, furnaces, and water heaters may contain levels of cancer-linked compounds that are toxic to residents when leaked. In other words, the left has embarked on a mission to convince you that natural gas will give you cancer. And they're going to use Gasland, where you can light your water from the faucet. You can light it, and that just shows you that the water is bad. Interesting, because methane is only from natural gas. The whole thing's stupid. All right, let's keep reading. We saw mention of this faux study when it was first released this week, and we ignored it because it's an obvious fake. But mainstream news sources are picking it up. So it's time to debunk this garbage. See, we always, the true secrets have always got to be on the attack, because the left doesn't stop. Evil doesn't stop. You've got to be ready, stand guard to fight. You don't know what they're going to do. Evil has no rules. It does whatever it wants. It takes no prisoners. It has no rules. It leaves all. You might think you might be on, like they all say, it's better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. You ain't going to reign in hell, brother. You ain't. Satan doesn't play like that. It says, I use you as my guinea pig, and if you think I'm your boy, okay, we'll see. You're my boy until I can no longer use you. No different than communism, man. It's just, this is what's happening. You've got to be on guard. The problem is, it'd be nice if we went on attack on occasion. But we are honest people, and we literally can't think how shallow and evil these people do. We can't. Anyway, so here's the first thing to know about the Harvard studies based on cherry-picked sampling. The research began COVID, was suspended, and then it restarted. New locations were added. It's difficult to understand why they did and didn't collect from where and when, but here's the bottom line. The final research set includes samples from 69 homes. They used 234 samples in those 69 homes, but they gathered far more samples from more homes, but they didn't include them in the analysis or say why. Interesting. Never heard fake studies like this before. Have we, Pfizer? In other words, the research cherry-picked the data for the results they wanted. The research itself is from a very small sample set, too small to draw any statistically conclusions. What about other samples in other states and cities? What about including large cities and small cities? What about a statistically valid sample set? All missing from the study, but mind you not, CNN and the boys are going to tout it like crazy. Another thing is that the study actually found low levels of volatile organic compounds, VOCs, the stuff that supposedly causes cancer. The researchers never assessed the actual risk, if any, to resonance. So mainstream media claims that natural gas causes cancer are false, based on innuendo. Shocking. Finally, the people doing the research are profoundly biased and on record as being biased anti-gas, anti-fossil fuels. They're from a group called Physicians, Scientists, and Engineers for Health Energy, a group known for sensational claims. It's founded by former Cornell professor, some clown, for his patently false claims over the years. And they've written plenty about this guy. And yet this faux study is picked up by The Hill. Must-read news for swamp dwellers report on the study. Natural gas for powering household stoves, furnaces, water may contain cancer-linked compounds. The research investigated the composition of Greater Boston's unburned household gas. While sampling natural gas supplies in more than 200 homes, the author detected various concentrations of VOCs. The most related research has focused on methane, the primary component of natural gas, which is why we can burn our faucets because of shale. We can do it before shale, fool. And it impacts on climate change. The degree which air pollutants and natural gas remain cancerous are unexplored. All right, considering gas beyond its methane contents, therefore, requires a paradigm shift that is critical to understanding the potential health hazards. Natural gas is mostly methane, like pizza sauce is mostly tomatoes. But there are other trace ingredients that could hurt you. From December 2019 through May 2021, they collected 234 unburned natural gas samples from 69 kitchen stoves and building pipeline across the Boston region. Within these samples, they detected 296 unique chemical compounds, 21 which are designated by the federal government as hazardous. And the idiots who did the study, I call them idiots. Now that we know there are small quantities of VOCs present in the gas supply in Boston, it is reasonable to conclude that our gas supply is not as clean as what we once thought. That's it, huh? Okay, that's it. All right, let's keep going here. It said, we reiterate that the study focused on hazard identifications only and did not assess human exposure. So what? It's just the first step. There's more research that needs to be done, funded by the big daddy taxpayer. All right, we think there's probably some risk, but that risk may be less than other real well-established environmental hazards like tobacco smoke. Okay. Adding up, whatever. Let's keep reading here. Market Watch goes even further with their headline: another reason to swap out your gas stove, because Market Watch is literally dumb as rocks. All right, let's keep reading because this is just, it's insane. Let's Energy in depth punctures large holes in this fake study, exposing it for the fraud it is. A new study from an anti-natural gas activist group is high on scare tactics, but acknowledges it found low levels of volatile organic compounds and never assessed the actual risks. The study, yet another produced by the anti-natural gas clowns, released their study to identify the presence of certain hazards in natural gas, yet only succeeded in unnecessarily distressing residents to convince them their gas stove is harming them. They acknowledged low levels of VOCs. Yep, they even said VOCs in natural gas are likely lower than compared to other source types. One of the toxics the authors studied was benzene, which they said was lower in natural gas fueling stoves than in gasoline. The New York Times reported while covering the story, the highly flammable chemical is colorless and light yellow, and is found in products made from coal and oil, plastics, resins, nylon fibers, and some types of rubbers. The concentrations of benzene that the researchers found in natural gas were much lower compared to the amount in gasoline. All right. The American Gas Association confirmed there are only low levels of VOCs. All right. The study is not a health risk assessment. Yep. Ultimately, we categorize this as health identification study. Simply translated, the researchers found low levels of VOCs, and that's it. It undermines all the scare tactics around the study. There are plenty of hazards in the world. Lightning strikes, bear attacks, but unless someone is actually exposed to the hazard in a major way, there is no risk. Additionally, findings in the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology discovered that as more people stay in their homes during the pandemic, asthma and respiratory symptoms actually decreased. This is the first study conducted by these clowns that is intended to undercut the confidence in America's natural gas. They teamed up with Stanford to peddle a study with flawed methodology to proclaim that gas stoves are harmful to health based on their natural nitrous oxide emission over the course of a few minutes without any ventilation. In that study, they used a completely unrealistic testing environment. Pfizer learned from the best. They sealed the kitchens in plastic wrap and painter's tape and employed flawed measurements. These guys want residents and policymakers to see the findings and question the use of natural gas stoves regardless. Anyway, here's a link to the full copy. I found that funny. And then on top of that, I chuckled at this. The FERC has given NFG an extra 3 years to build a Northern Access pipeline. And we're just going to talk about it real quick right here. NFG filed the project in 2016, and FERC granted them permission in 2017 to basically move natural gas from Pennsylvania to Erie County, New York, and Niagara County, New York as well, along with a new compressor station in the town of Pendleton. So they're trying to help New Yorkers heat their homes. But the New York Department of Environmental Conservation arbitrarily blocked the project by refusing to issue a federal water stream crossing permit. DEC frittered around for years, delaying the project before finally issuing a denial. All right. The corrupt DEC, along with even more corrupt Sierra Club, challenged FERC's decision in federal court. Now, I got to tell you, man, if New York State doesn't want cheap and clean natural gas, they have a right not to. I don't like the federal government coming in there and saying you have to allow this pipeline. I don't like that at all. If they want to freaking vote for these clowns, that's your choice. You can vote for freaking Cuomo and Kathy Hochul or whatever and not use natural gas and just use electricity. Good luck with that. Watertown, New York, and it sucks to be you. I don't like the federal government coming in and saying you have to do this. I don't like that at all. And I know we don't live in a true states' rights, but I don't want the federal government coming and saying you have to put these freaking windmills down here in Georgia. Screw that, man. States have ability. And if the citizens don't want natural gas, they should have a right to say no. If citizens don't want windmills, they should have a right to say no. So be careful, my friends, of what you wish for, because the last thing we want is the federal government telling the states what they have to do. All right. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.